Welcome, guys, to VisualCorp Solutions podcast. I have John here. John, owner of Thompson Family Plumbing. I've known John 5 to 6 years, maybe even more. We've grown deeper in our relationship. John's actually taught me a lot. He's more of a mentor now, and hopefully he can teach me a lot more when it comes to systems, business. He's the real deal. He's not just anyone who just talks the game. He actually does this. Like, it's not. I mean, I've been around tons of business owners, and he's actually doing it. He's actually one that talks the talk. Most trade companies, home service businesses, they lose thousands of hours a year in training, onboarding. John Thompson was one of them. His guys were spending 2 weeks fully learning on the job, a little bit of training, PDF stuff, clicking through, the, what's it called?
Slack.
I forget, not Slack, the PowerPoint sheets, they were using that.
Yep.
We came in, we built in a video training system, we got that down to 2 days. Today, John's here to talk about what actually changed in his business, and it wasn't just onboarding. So we want to get into who is John Thompson, right? Tell people who you are, what Thompson Family Plumbing does, the size, the scope, and how long have you been in it?
Yeah, John Thompson. I've been doing plumbing for about 19 years, and I've owned our business for, I would say, we're definitely 13, getting on to 14 years now. Definitely been a wild ride. I mean, you can tell by my answer, I can't even remember.
Yeah. What's the size right now?
Yeah, so right now I believe we're just under 50 employees. Wow. And it's been a crazy battle to obtain that for sure. And you can imagine all the headaches of training and just figuring out how to facilitate even just the onboarding process correctly, or just the hiring process, period. And the rehiring process, and the firing paperwork even, and just being legal all the way around the board. We have actually, being a trade company, especially plumbing, there's a lot of different criteria that I expect my team to have when I start. Number one, they have registered sales numbers. Nice. So they all have to get registered with the CSLB in order to be a salesperson in this company. And that's pretty much everybody. And so they have to go through a vetting process through the state, and also a vigorous and rigorous training course with Thompson Family Plumbing.
Where was the moment? What was the moment when you realized the business had grown past what you could personally manage? Was it a number of employees?
Oh, so I've made a lot of mistakes. And I would say my biggest mistake is being an operator in my truck and not getting out of my truck. Most business owners, they want to create a job for themselves when they start their business, right? And they don't want a boss, but they eventually find out that every customer is your boss, and they will tell you what exactly they expect and what they want. And so then you get stuck in the forefront, making sure that that's something that we can connect with our customers and maintain and continue. And before you know it, you're way behind the management. You're way behind the systems, the processes that really truly make you a company and create your culture, maintains your culture, and your level. What is the level of employees that you expect and want in your company? I want the highest level people that I can through integrity and technical skill. And sometimes, it's really hard to teach integrity. So once we find out that they may not have the integrity that aligns with what our customers are expecting, it sucks, man, because these people, most of the time, they have the technical ability that maybe some people that have the actual integrity don't. And so it's really a painful experience to have to let some people go that don't have the true integrity that we expect for our employees to have with our customers.
When did that start becoming something you couldn't juggle? Because personally, me, I think I could handle about 3 or 4 people, a good team, and make sure we're all on it. When did that? I guess what I'm asking is, way before you actually implemented training and all that, when did that, what number did that look like when it became a problem? We're like, damn, I can't handle all
Honestly,
this.
Instantly for me.
Honestly?
Honestly, instantly, because you imagine I'm a chuck in a truck
You're working on the job.
I'm
you're
working
doing
on the
work,
job.
And then you have to handle your team as well.
Yeah. So typically
Wow.
how I did it a long time ago is I would have an apprentice with me in my truck,
And you guys go do the job.
and we just go do the jobs, and I'm giving them hands-on experience and training in a lot of different ways, and mentorship and all of that stuff along the way. And sometimes these guys, I wouldn't get them out of my truck for a year or 2 years sometimes, and maybe they didn't even make it into their own truck ever. And that's the most unfortunate part, especially when they invest all that time, but then they can't actually collect that technical ability in the field. And then you're like, oh, well, you got all this other skill, but you don't have this skill, and you're not catching on to it for some reason. What do I do with this employee? And can I cross-train them to get them into a different department or not? I would say right now my answer would be different than what it would have been then.
Yes.
Back then, it would have been like, no, I don't have another position for you. If you can't do all of it, I don't have a position for you.
So to add to that, what did the hiring and onboarding look like before you started adding systems and everything? Like you said,
well,
you bring them on for a truck for a year. How else did it look like?
I could only hire one person at a time.
Oh shit, dude.
Because I was the trainer.
Are you serious?
One person at a time. So talk
Damn.
about slowing your own growth and your own success. I was literally shooting myself in both feet, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it. I didn't recognize that. I was blind to the fact because I was so busy with work. I didn't even have time to think about any of the other stuff. I always thought I was a great leader. I mean, I was a high school quarterback. I had leadership in every sport I was in. I was, the leader. And leading a company is different than leading a football team, but in a lot of different ways, it's the same. If you want a long-term relationship to really connect, it happens with a lot of different things. And you have to be able to give them what they're seeking. Number one is safety.
What comes in money and all that.
They have to feel that security in the sense of home. And if they don't feel that, then they don't want to be there any longer.
Yeah, why would they want to stay, right? For somewhere that they don't feel like secure and respected too, right? They got to feel respected.
Secure,
What
respect.
Like their job's important as well.
I totally forgot what we were talking about, to be honest.
Well, to add to that as well, at what point did you stop thinking like a plumber and start thinking like a business operator?
I started thinking like a true operator would, or a true CEO would, when I basically lost my business. And that was a really tough time. You were around for that.
I was. Was it from, I know it had a lot to do with other stuff, but I'm wondering, did training and onboarding have a little bit to do with that?
It had a lot to do with it.
Really?
It had a lot to do with it.
Okay. Because it's hard to instill that. I mean, it's hard. You want them to do you want them to run the company how you would run it, right? And if you don't take time to actually instill that and teach them that, you're going to run into a lot of problems.
Yeah, and a lot of that was not having the process dialed in. So when I had problems, I came to fix the solution and cross-train after they were already mistrained and they were misaligned with the values of the company, and trying to overcome that when I was living in a different state, right? That's actually where the disconnect started happening for me.
Oh, I see what you mean. There's no training and onboarding that could, there was no, like, at McDonald's, right? It has the same, there wasn't any of that.
I wasn't there. And so I didn't have somebody in my seat here to take the torch from me of the culture of the systems and processes that I was doing. And I was leaving it up to chance, and I was getting the result, which was a negative result. In your business in the red, not producing actual net profit. Maybe you got some gross profit to cover your overhead and your repairs and your mess ups throughout the days.
But that's not what having a business is for.
That's not what having a business is for. Number one, it is security for all. Not just the owner, but the security that the employees have with the owner, knowing that that guy's got it nailed down, or the woman. In my case, my wife is my partner, and so both of us trying to give them the stability was very difficult. When we didn't have the technical training correctly, and I realized, and I was with a lot of business owners have this mindset to where Well, if I train them, they're just going to leave.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very negative way of thinking, looking at it.
And the way I see it is if you don't train them,
they're going to leave anyway.
they're going to leave anyways. And what kind of outcome are you going to get while they're here?
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. So we did a lot of different things, Devin and I, and one of the things was we actually spent we ripped open our savings account and we joined a system, a business called Nexstar.
Yep.
And what they do is they help small businesses or even large businesses come up with systems and processes and also management training and all this and that. Accountability, teaching managers how to actually manage, how to lead, what are the things that are most important to the business, and they really focus on culture, demeanor, and speed of the organization, and collective consciousness, I would call it, so that we are all in tune. And some things that really struck a chord with me and the reason why I'm going down this path is because to connect the dots of what happens when you don't train them, but also what happens when you do train them and when you do invest all of this time in them. So when we joined that, we sent everybody to training in other states. We spent literally that year, I think it was like $350,000. We spent that much money to train our entire organization and get our ship flipped and turned and get in the right direction. Wow. And you know what? I don't have any of those people working for me still.
But you learned all that for you.
I learned a lot for me. I spent that for an investment for my future employees. But not only that, at that time, I had my employees there. I love all my employees, and all of those employees got some stellar training that they never had before. And I can promise you, they remember all that stuff even long after me. I'm not mad that they're not with me. People's journeys split, and we all need to be prepared for that. But we need to be prepared for getting new employees coming in and getting them up to speed as soon as possible. Let's be real. I used to train people, and any person that comes in, especially a labor or a ground entry level position, when they come in, it takes a year or a year and a half to get an ROI out of that person. Like,
that's a lot.
It is a lot. Like literally, even with onboarding videos, which we have, I still like to do some of them again in person. And ironically, when we're doing this podcast right now, I'm out here doing that training, and I do still spend a week with them because I do see the valid points of us having those videos beforehand and getting them to get it in their brain so that when I come, they are ready. They're prepared.
And you're ready too. You didn't expel all that energy repeating yourself again.
Yes. So when I say it one time, they get it and they're like, I already heard that. So yes, this makes sense.
You hit it again.
And I can hit it from a different angle all of the time.
So what was the first real system you put in place? Did it scare you? And did it scare you to let go? I'm so sorry. What was the first real system you put in place, and did it scare you to let go of doing it yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What was the first system? Like, hey, you know what? Let's try to install company values, or what was the first?
Well, that whole first experience was actually when I started with Nexstar, and I was probably, I think we were 5 years.
You can keep talking.
5 years into Thompson Family Plumbing, and I took a leap of faith in something that I'd never had before, and it really did work out very well for us. And I did it in a very strategic fashion to where I came up with these things. I already had a game plan on my mind, what I wanted for the outcome to be successful, but I allowed my staff to take control of it.
Love that.
So such as our core values and guiding principles. I had a really fun exercise and I gave it to the crew to come up with.
That's awesome.
And they actually nailed it right on the head, dude. And we still have those core values today. So
a lot of trade guys, home services, I would say almost any business, right? This is what I come across when I tell people I do training videos. A lot of people think systems are for big corporations, right? What would you say to the owner who thinks he's too small to have some sort of training and onboarding system?
You're already failing if you're thinking that, because you're not thinking about success.
I agree.
You're not thinking about the strategic plan and what it takes to actually execute the service up to your standards. And if you don't document that, you're never going to repeat your skills with somebody else. And to me, your brand is you. And how do you replicate you? How do you create your army of minions? You know what I'm saying?
And that's the fundamental of a business.
That's the fundamental, and that's the culture of the business.
Exactly. That's
the culture. And you know, I've actually gone forward and backwards with this culture thing.
Yeah.
I really have. When I went to Nexstar and I started that, I brought in all of this culture and I tanked with it.
Okay.
I tanked with all of it. It didn't get me anywhere. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be a hard nose again. And I'm just gonna be like, no, this is the way it is, and da 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 da. And then you know what happened? I lost my entire company, right? I failed at leadership because I didn't have myself under control in order to have these tough conversations in the right manner. And I didn't have the systems and processes to support what I'm asking of them. And that was the importance of us doing our onboarding videos. These onboarding videos that we did with you aren't just for training. It's for continuation of training. It's for holding accountability. It's for also understanding if we trained properly or not. And if we did not train accordingly, then what do we do? We actually use your videos and we cross-train them again. We send them the video with a quiz and be like, here's the video, here's the quiz. I really need you to understand what's going on with this. But first off, I just want to say that I know that this failure is not all on you. And I want to say that I will take the first accountability for not training you correctly. But it's really important that we nail this down for our customers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign you these ed puzzles, and we're going to go through this process again.
Okay.
And after you do this, you take your quiz. I want you to screenshot it and send it to me so we can talk about the results. And we're going to talk about the process. And what we're going to do also after that is we're going to role play the importance of this and make sure that we have the vocabulary nailed down. And then, and you know what? And I'm going to ask you if you've been trained enough. I'm going to ask you if you really understand this. Does it make sense? Does it connect with you? Does it make sense to the culture that we're trying to create for our customers and our coworkers? And their answers are going to be like, absolutely, John, I totally understand this. And then the next time something happens, I tell them and I set the tone. I'm like, so the next time this happens, it's going to be on you. And you know what we're going to do the next time? I'm going to send you the videos again. And you're going to do the quiz again.
You know, that's what I love about the videos. You could, if someone makes a mistake in your company and they're messing up the sales, the service, whatever, in a way you can kind of punish them, like to rewatch these videos, you know? But these videos aren't as fucking boring and as like brain numbing as the usual training videos that people get when they start in a big company, you know? At least your face is on it. At least there's animation, branding, something, a quiz at the end that has great questions. And we made the questions hard. Like, we did not spare any room. We wanted these guys to really have to think about what's being said, you know? And I'm glad that you're reusing these videos how you're supposed to, you know? It's not it's not you onboard them, you get them in, and then that's it. No, dude, you use these video systems as a tool, you know, and you're using it really well, John.
Well, and I think that you helped with those philosophies too, you know?
Thank you.
You know, we really talked about this stuff a lot and strategized it perfectly. One thing that when you were just talking, you actually kind of triggered something in my mind. And you said like a punishment kind of thing, right?
Kind of like a punishment.
So some people would think about it like a punishment. But you know, the first thing that we have to do is break that victim mentality, because this is business and we're here to do a job for a higher purpose here.
Exactly.
And especially in what I do, we're effortless and endless servants, and we have to be. We're a 24-hour service company. So if I have somebody that's in a victim mindset, I can't have them on my team, because our customers deserve champions that's going to help see through the unexpected issues that they have at their house. And during the repair, you're going to have problems, and I need to know that I have a secure person that's going to see it through and get that water back onto the home before they leave.
Is this still recording?
It looks like it.
Where are we at? Oh yeah, we are.
So red?
20 minutes. If it stops being red, let me know, okay? Because it only records 30 minutes and then it stops. Okay, so Okay, we're gonna go into segment 4, which is 2 weeks, 2 days, what actually happened, right? So walk me through what the onboarding process looked before we built our video system. What was that like? You said it was 2 weeks long. You're using Nexstar too, right? What was it like? Like if I want to know what it was like for me joining your company and what it was like. But just like right before we made the videos, not years before.
Honestly, it was kind of stressful for me because I did use my PowerPoints and stuff like that. I used actually Nexstar's service systems on their website, which is super glitchy, and I didn't really like it. And so one of our missions was to make something that was a little bit more fluent. And I wanted to recreate the videos in my fashion due to my processes. But going to your question, like how was it before? It was a little bit of chaos. It was a lot more stress because, let's be real, I'm running a company. And I don't have weeks and weeks that I can sit before I train to study my material, make sure it's all right. And I almost, you're full sprinting most of the time running an operation and being in your business. I literally cannot fathom hearing when I hire a new employee that I have never even met any owners that I've worked for before. I'm like, what? Owners are literally just making these companies and bailing on all of their staff, and I just don't even understand how they can even feel okay about doing that. So I've never been that person that would ever just, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've definitely thrown dudes to the wolves before, but knowing that they already had the capability of maybe doing it and mastering it. But our process was definitely not as streamlined as it was. I probably wasn't as good of a leader because I didn't know what was going to come out of my mouth. I was hoping that everything was going to be in alignment and it was going to be really good. And I did document some of that stuff, but by making the videos, it really made me like straight dial it in. And ironically, I was dealing with some crazy stuff as a business owner when we were recording that stuff.
That was crazy.
I was losing my mind, and then all of us management, we came in and just murdered everything, like almost one take everything. And it was pretty, honestly, I was like, damn, we're rock stars.
You guys are very well media trained for sure. Thank God. What was it costing you in time, money, or headaches to onboard the new tech right before we started our video library with you?
I mean,
2 weeks.
I mean, realistically, it was, my onboarding was more like 2 to 3 months before I would release anybody before. Before like a technician that comes in fresh, I really wanted to know a lot more things. But with our strategic process that we have, I'm able to like literally take most of the time a rookie off the street and teach them the linguistics of how we do business and get them producing revenue faster than I ever have before and generating a profit out of that new employee way faster than a year. Because I told you before, it would take a year to a year and a half to get your ROI on any new employee. You're paying for uniforms, you're paying for training, you're paying for
your own time,
my own time, the other employees' time, the screw ups that when they're training they mess up and we have to go back and redo the work. There's a lot of things that come into play in that. Teaching them how to do inventory and truck replenishments and stuff. It's a really daunting process, and a lot of people they don't even understand what it's like to run a plumbing company and how crazy it is. Like it's probably one of the most insane businesses that you can be in because you have to have an inventory company, you have to have a fleet management company, you have to have a call center, you have to have a sales team, you have to have a labor team, you have to. It's just.
Yeah, it's some of the most complicated business I've seen. Every job is different. It's not like a car detailing business.
Correct.
You know? It's not, every job doesn't have the same tools. It doesn't need the same people. It takes different level of experience for each thing, and it's a lot to juggle. Like, should I take my foreman, my best guy, to this job, or should I take the new guy? Can he handle it? There's like a lot of factors in plumbing that I've seen that it's damn near impossible to have it all in your head,
So that's why it was so important
that's hard.
that when we came up with this stuff, we were like, we have to do this. We don't have a choice. We don't have enough time to do it. And we're like, we don't even have enough time to do the videos, but you know what? And we may not even have the money to do the videos, but if we don't do this, what is the repercussions if we don't do it? We can't grow, we can't expand, we can't teach our people better. And And we can't lead better because let's be real. When we have all of these things in play and hitting our table day in and day out, every hour we have something crazy coming at us, right? And if we're just thinking about fixing the present moment, we can't plan our new employees' future and make sure that it's strategically sound for their success. And so my biggest thing was what hurt for me the most is I didn't set my team up to win, even though my culture is winning. I felt like I was failing in those moments. And I think a good leader would do that. They would point their finger at themselves first and say, you were the fuck up. You were not the right person.
Leadership is
yes.
full responsibility.
Yeah.
When we first talked about, you and Devin first talked about these videos, were you skeptical at any, what were some of the concerns? Were you skeptical at all about these videos actually working? And what was some of the mindset coming in with that?
Yeah, so the mindset of where we were at when we started all this, I definitely had some concerns.
Yeah.
And to be frank, after we already committed, I didn't care about the money. It wasn't about how much it was really going to cost us, although that was a factor, right? But
it's just like, damn, we've never done this before.
We've never done this before.
How the fuck is this? How can it possibly work? You know, I would be like, this. You've never done it before.
I'm like, how are we going to make this actually engaging?
Yeah.
I've worked for a sandwich shop before that had like training videos, corporate training videos.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I worked for Ralph's before. They had corporate training videos, and they were the worst daunting videos you can ever see.
Fucking trash.
And I'm like, how can I get out of that? So I definitely had concerns that I was just going to be like any other training video, and that's why I liked the flavor of doing the ed puzzles with the questionnaires and stuff like that, because that does give it a little different tactic in it. But we really wanted our videos short and engaging, and impactful and punchful, and however we possibly could do that. I was also worried about the quality of the videos. I was worried about the cut scenes. I was worried about all of the text to make sure that they understood what we were talking about. With like, I'm literally talking about the labels we put on our video. I'm a video editor myself, so I'm like, dude, this shit better be tight and right and better be dialed in. And I'll be honest, the first video that you guys sent me, I'm like, these guys nailed this.
This is exactly what you wanted, right?
Nailed it.
Thank you. You know, it's hard to make a training video fun, right? What was it about the edits that you liked? Was it the?
I think your cuts were really good, and if like, earlier I said that we nailed all of our stuff, but we stumbled a little bit, and you corrected some of our stumbles in our editing, and you cut it short and fast, and if there was gaps in our speaking, you shortened it up to shorten the video, but also give it a little bit of an edge. Kind of like you would see like Instagram Reels sometimes. You'd see them like cutting, and but they're still, it's talking the same thing, but it gave it a little bit of action. When you edited it.
Thank you. Yeah. That means a lot, and we understand that having an engaging, entertaining, and eye-catching training video is just as important as the material being said. It actually goes hand in hand. We could just hit record on a tripod and like, go ahead, do your training. That's not what we want to do. What we want to do in the future is actually do on-the-job training too, helping you with the on-the-job, making it creative, fun. I know in some of the videos we made with John, the second, not the managerial, but we did some additional stuff. He was a lot more happier. He was talking about his mustache, and we added it in the video. Like we wanted his personality to show up in the training, to just help the person viewing it.
Yeah, one of my biggest suggestions if you're recording is actually, do some recordings yourself first and see how well you are. Like, honestly, I am not good at script. I am horrible at it. I'm not a very good reader, and so what that does for me is it gets me out of who I actually naturally am, and I'm better naturally, and I'm more charismatic naturally, and stuff like that.
We noticed that with John, so that way when we did his stuff, we mainly just did bullet points for the most part and let him do his thing. We cut it up. Everyone else pretty much got
a script.
Yeah. But John, he doesn't work like that, and that's fine. Everyone works differently, Like some people can't adapt to how you do things, but we can, we actually prefer the way you do things. It's funner.
Yeah, they actually helped me out a lot with this stuff because when I was reading the scripts, when we got out of the initial like service system stuff that we did, we started doing safety videos, truck cleaning videos, stuff like that. That's where I was really stumbling with my scripts, and I'm just like, dude, forget this script. Let's just go off script and let's get it done. But the biggest thing is that you guys had really great bullet points that led me down the path of the story that I was trying to tell. And you guys spent a lot of time on the storytelling, and made sure that all that content was like seriously dialed in.
Thank you.
And I don't know if Devin helped you with it or you guys just did it yourselves with a little bit of her.
The script writing?
Yeah, how'd you guys do that?
We just collaborated on it. She sent over essentially what was going to be said on the video.
Yeah.
And we created the whole entire script for everything. It was like pages and pages. I think it was like 10 to 15 pages.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
It was a lot. We still have that. What did you notice differently in the quality of work coming out of like new hires versus before, once you did the videos and whatnot?
I actually saw a much happier employee after it.
Wow.
They were more ready, I would say.
Really?
And not only, it's not just the videos though, like everyone can say it's just one thing. Like that's easy to say it's one thing, but it's actually a multitude of things. It's the onboarding schedule period. It's like, hey, you're gonna go do this very strategic training, and it's pretty complicated. So what I want to do first is I want to set you up for success. I want you to ride with some guys and see some stuff in action.
Love that.
Then I want you to study the criteria of what you're about to learn in your actual class. That's the 2-day training. They're going to hammer all that stuff out themselves and do the Q&As and all that stuff. And then they are ready to pay attention to the owner of the business and the head sales guy to actually pay attention and listen and to really retain on a different level. So
it's everyone's training the new hire. It's not just you.
Yes.
I feel like the videos have gave you the space and opportunity and time to add on to your training. I think we talked before,
100%.
right? It gave you the energy and time to actually add to it. And you know, I'm so impressed and so blown back by how you and Devin see this. Like, you guys learn through your own mistakes, right? Which sucks. I've learned it through shooting 500 plus different businesses, and I see the mentality of each business owner as soon as I walk in the door and I see their business. You know, I just soak it in. You know, it's just who I am. You know, I learned it through that, and the mentality that you guys have is just A1. Like I told you and Devin, you guys are going to be a $10-50 million company soon. You guys reworked the fundamentals. And now it's like a good fundamental. So now it's just scaling, selling, and doing more. And
right.
It's like you have everything laid out.
And just to put some numbers to that, we were about a $6 million shop, and now we're the $10 million shop.
Nope.
So
they already hit 10 million. I told Dev too.
Yeah,
I'm like, I told her the day we finished our videos, I'm like, dude, you're gonna be 10 mil like easily, because now you're working on your fundamentals. Like
we're paced on that this year.
Oh my, dude, that is so awesome. Like, like these guys, you know, I'm curious what like some of the problems are gonna be once you get to that next level of business, which is like the more of the corporate stuff, right? That's gonna be crazy. And I'd love to learn like what you'll be learning through all that. You know, having 15, 20 locations and like, what is that like? You know, I'm excited to hear that from you guys, you know?
Well, you're going to be there for it for sure.
Yeah,
so.
and yeah, I'm going to be there for, I'm excited to be part of that.
You know what's so cool about working with you, Roman, is that we philosophize about business, which realistically, I don't get that much time to do with anybody else, because literally my time is just my business and that's it. And we collide with our business and philosophy at the same time, and that's one thing that I really love working with you about. You do see things from other businesses too, and you do have some business coaching that you add into your video editing and what you're doing, and the ideas that you have to break the mold and to break through people. And I think you do that really well, and that's why I really enjoy continuing to work with you. And I'm pretty picky about who I work with. I will literally fire you in 2 seconds.
Same.
So.
Same. You know, me and John share a lot in common. We have a lot of fire in us, you know, and you know, me and John might get in an argument one day about honestly the stupidest stuff, like philosophizing one way to do business, you know. But like at the end of the day, like, you know, that's not something to fucking stop being friends over, because John is such a good person to have in my life, you know, and vice versa, you know. Maybe one day when he's up there and has 50 locations, I could suggest one little thing, and John will look at me and be like, wow, I did not fucking think of that, and boom,
100%.
change his whole business, you know, because I have such an outside perspective with all the businesses I worked with.
You have a
know?
wide range of
Super
businesses
wide.
that you've worked with.
I've worked with
power.
$100 million companies, 150, you know, 100,000 a year. Like, I've worked with all of them, you know, and I see, you know, for the most part, once the business gets bigger, I see the boredom in some of the employees, you know,
Yes.
and that's something I'll probably bring up to you, like, hey, let's work on getting these guys hyper. Or, you know, I don't know how we can fix that, but like, that's something I see, you know. But that's like mining stuff, like boring shit. You know, plumbing's actually entertaining. It's different every day. It attracts people that want something different every day. You know, I think I would thrive working for John. I love the way their systems are. I don't like being told what to do. That's the only thing that sucks. Like, I hate it. You know, so like, I'm not good in that department. You know, but it's nothing that can be fixed. Aside from
And
that.
here's the deal: you wouldn't have to be told what to do if you were doing it.
Exactly. It's
Or
not,
if you were trained accordingly.
Exactly.
You know, if you were trained appropriately, then you wouldn't get anything. You know.
So let's go into hiring, retention, and culture. We want to talk about how systems affected your people. Okay. Has having documented training changed the type of person you're able to hire? We already said that. Sorry. Oh. Great question. What's your turnover look like since you've started building systems? Do you think there's a connection? I've personally seen less and less turnover in the past 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
so we definitely have.
What's the turnover look like? Sorry.
We do have a big. We've always had a big turnover, and I think most plumbing shops really do. It's
just the industry in general.
It's such a dirty trade, really. It's kind of wild.
It's shitty, literally shit.
It's literally shitty. But our retention has been a lot better, and I think that it is because we're able to be more strategic with what we're doing, and to be real, with all the problems that we've had over the past, our leadership has also changed in a fashion to where we are not emotional about correcting behaviors because we don't have to. We can lean on the process and say, hey, this is what we set in stone.
There's confidence in it.
You did the videos, you did the training. I have quizzes that you actually got 100% on, brother. Why are we not in sync anymore? What's going on? So we're able to use these tools as a reconnection piece, but also a continuation piece to training.
Development.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. I never really looked at how important that is, you know. Well, you're using my videos in creative ways. I never thought you can use it to that. You actually introduced some of the ways that you work on it, like continuing the development, right? I know that I've said before that you can use it as a kind of like when they start messing up, you could retrain them.
Yes.
That's what the big companies do.
Yes.
Whenever their employees mess up, they make them redo all the boring training as punishment. And if they don't do it, now they have a reason to get them fired. You know, it's actually it's actually a good tool to like run people out.
I think it really is because they obviously miss the point of why it's so important. But also your video's got to be good to where you're showcasing the underlying reasons why. If we don't teach our employees why it's actually impactfully important to the sale, to the relationship, to the length of that relationship, because we can do great this time, but we can screw up the next time. And that's why our systems and processes are so important. Just say for one small, very simplistic part of our process is putting on boot covers. We put on boot covers coming into this house.
Important.
And I have seen so many good reviews about boot covers. But what happens when we don't use boot covers the next time? Now they're like, oh, dude, they don't care about me anymore. I literally wrote them a good review about wearing boot covers, but now they're not wearing boot covers. Or do they have different management now? Like, what's going on? I don't know if I'm going to use them again. So by actually nailing these processes, and it's just like McDonald's, man. If you go to McDonald's and you have this amount of salt on your fry, and that is what keeps you coming, if you go to one that consistently is not putting salt on it, you're not going to that McDonald's.
Never going there again.
If Del Taco does not cook their fries with just a little bit of crisp, I'm not going to that franchise.
It's the little things that customers will literally leave you for.
It's
Those
the
boot
basic
covers
stuff.
are very important, you know, and it takes 10 seconds to put it on. And I can understand why tech might forget that.
I'm going to teach.
But you need to not do that.
Sorry, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more fairy dust on that and some sprinkles. So, in The Cult of the Customer, it's a book. I recommend you reading it. The Cult of the Customer talks about the details. The details is what creates your service experience for your customer, and it's going to make or break that deal. It's also going to get the customer to rebuy or cancel out. And so what's important in these videos is nail the details that each department needs to carry from here to there. They're passing the torch to the next person. The next person has to do these same things, so it's a continued culture and legacy, so it makes sense logically for somebody to say, hey, this makes sense, and actually this is really what I really like about this company. And if we break that the next time, they're not going to use this again. But the Cult of the Customer says everything is within the details. So if we don't explain the details to our own employees, they're not going to be able to get those details in front of the customer to make the connection that your mission statement has and is trying to accomplish. And so those details are the most important to talk about in these videos.
They're the priority.
They are the priority.
How do your techs feel about the videos? Do they reference them on a job? Really, ignore that last part. How do your techs feel about the videos? What have you heard from them?
Good and bad.
What's some of the bad?
Some of the bad is just sitting too long.
Got it.
Like even one day of sitting and training is pretty tough, right?
Very tough.
And so that's where my continuation of my onboarding still needs to get dialed in, man. I want the best experience for anybody to come into my business, and I know it's not there yet. I have continued work that I need to continue to dive down, and the bulk of the work is done. Now it's just coordinating how do we organize all this stuff the right way?
4 hours of video, 4 hours on a job. You know, that's where the details come in that John can figure out. Should he split up the training? Maybe instead of a full day of onboarding videos, let's do 4 hours, and then on the job.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know?
Half day in-house, half day out-house.
How do we make it fun? How do we keep it, engaging?
Because once they start losing engagement, they're not retaining.
Exactly. You want them to be like, damn, man, I wish I could sit inside right now and just chill. Maybe 4 hours of on the job, and then show them the onboarding.
Yeah.
So the day ends smooth,
And honestly, that is why I also like still doing a lot of stuff in person after all that stuff, because they're not going to retain everything. What they're doing is trying to get out of the seat as fast as they can.
Yeah,
they're pounding through it, and then they kind of lose the validity of what the actual message is. And so then So then we have to really make sure that they know how to do these things in person, whether it be with me or whether it be with another technician that's already executing these things or whatever. We have to make sure that they can do it in real time.
So the videos, it's weird. Videos are a small part of the onboarding and training, but they're a huge part too. So it's just a tool, It's a tool that you need. It's one of the tools just as important as being in person and training. You got to have a set of videos.
And I'll continue answering your question because you said what are some good things that they say.
Yeah. What did they say about the videos? Yeah.
So it's about your editing.
Okay.
It's literally about your editing. The only great things that I hear, I do hear some other great things about like the process, like, oh, dude, I never even thought about it like that before, or whatever. I do get stuff like that. However, the things that they actually like are the edits that you put in there, the mustache stuff, just like stupid little quirky things that
they can look forward to.
That we were thinking are outtakes that you put in.
Yeah. That's, eventually John and Devin are going to want to even better their training, right?
Redo
redo the whole thing and create something really creative. Now they can drop $150K on these training videos and make it super fun,
But we've
super creative.
But we've already continued our video structure with you, right? So we started our video onboarding at the base level.
Base
Super
level.
Basic,
yeah. Just who you are, who John is, the mustache, you know, the looking good. Now we actually did some managerial stuff too, and that blew my mind. I didn't even consider managerial training, which is crazy.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Who has manager training?
No. when Devin told me she wanted to do managerial training, like a freaking, like my brain exploded. I was like, why did I never think about that? Like, that is just as important, if not more important.
It's more important.
Because that's how you open locations up. That's how
Correct.
you do 6, 7 locations.
Correct.
How do you have a standard of training for everybody?
So
you need
then,
some managerial.
So then you say, what is more important then? Managerial videos?
I don't know, man.
Or basic
great
level
one.
onboarding videos?
That's a good one. Man, my gut says managerial training is more important.
I 100%
gut.
say that because what is the most important part is the leadership, is the management, and that culture that you're setting for the new employees to come in. So if they're not trained appropriately, then that is your biggest shortcoming. And honestly, I'll straight say that that's probably been one of my biggest shortcomings. But it's been like something about our culture in plumbing, the managers in actually plumbing, and all the shops I've ever worked for, they never did training to be a manager. They were just maybe a mediocre technician that was like, oh, we need somebody to do my dirty work, so they do the dirty work. They're not trained to be a manager. They're not even really a leader. And they start recognizing that, like, hey, I got to develop some stuff because I'm getting in fights with these guys. I can't even communicate with them. I can't get them to do what I need them to do because of who I was as a base level employee, and now I'm a manager and they don't respect me. So there's a lot of stuff, but
that's very true.
I'll give you guys one nugget that I have done that I actually retained from a trade show from another business owner. He was super hammered, and we actually were at a cigar rolling event.
Nice.
This was at the Rilla Masters 2 or 3 years ago. Anyways, they had this guy come in. They were like literally building cigars for you and lighting them up for you, and just there you go.
Nice.
Anyways, we were at this spot. I don't smoke cigars, but I was there. They're giving away for free. I'm like, give me some rolled cigars. I'm gonna give them for my boys. So anyways, I'm talking to this guy, and we're talking about problems, we're talking about good things, we're talking about the most impactful things that we've done to change our organizations. And one of the nuggets that he gave me was really cool. He's like, you know how like most people, they have like their organizational chart and it looks like a pyramid, and you know, you got your base level at the bottom for your foundation, and then it goes up, and then your owners are at the top of the pyramid. He's like, what I did is I flipped that upside down. And I'm like, duh. Duh. Why is everything, the foundational footwork, based upon the entry level employees? We need to flip the script. The pendulum is on the owners, and then the managers after that. And so if we think about what the base is, the owners need the training first.
The owners, good training. And they need more and constant training than anyone else.
They need to be the masters. They need to be reading books. They need to know what the hell's going on in their organization and industry. Then it goes to middle management. How is this middle management going to deal with these new employees that come in?
And the owners.
And the owners. And are you capable of dealing with it?
Exactly.
And so I honestly think it's very important that maybe manager videos are first.
I think managerial videos are very important, but I think long term, the onboarding and training for the people under is more important. I think short term managerial, within like 5 years, managerial is important, but if we're thinking 20, 30 years, I think that.
Well, I would say that business owners in panic mode want the training for the base level, not even understanding that it's actually coming from them. Their failures are actually them.
That is a great point.
But you're in your emotions as a business owner because you can't even keep your head above water most of the time. And so, and that's what's called the messy middle in business. You're in the messy middle and you are barely staying there. And you know what gets you out of the messy middle is sacrifice and having the management to take your emotions out of it. You need lines of defense, and the middle management gets you that line of defense. And so that's why I believe that it's probably more important to do the managers first, because if you set up these other people for success, let's be real, if that onboarding is that good, they're going to surpass their managers possibly. And so we need our managers to be ahead of them even.
So how was, when we finished the managerial videos and you started implementing them, Did you see a change? How was it?
So I will be real, I haven't even had, when did we record those, man? 4 months ago?
February?
5 months ago? Yeah.
3,
so
4?
We haven't really even dialed all of that stuff in
Mm-hmm.
yet. Because when you go forward, sometimes you got to go back, and then you got to get a leap forward, and then you do a couple steps back, and then you do another huge leap forward.
You guys have 50 employees. It's like, it's not the same. You know, it takes time to set that up. But you haven't been able to touch none of it yet?
I would have to lean upon my partner, Devin, and see how far she's gone with that, because personally, I have not.
But they will be used, for sure.
They 100% will be used.
They're literally just in the vault waiting.
Yes.
Like you said, that middle, the middles kind of gets ignored sometimes. Like, honestly.
Yes, it does. It really does. And actually, sorry, now that I actually think about it, I think that our management is starting to do those videos, and I think that they are in Ed Puzzles already. I think Devin put them in there, or maybe you guys did.
I was putting them in on there, but then I think Lindsay took over and she started putting it on there, so we just backed up.
So I have heard of them actually doing them, but what they're actually missing now is the entry-level videos. So then they'll do those videos, and then they miss the other stuff, but they have to know those other stuff to manage that stuff. So realistically, my management onboarding needs to be different. I need to make sure that is dialed, which most shops don't have any of that dialed. I'll be real.
Nobody gets to that point, let's be honest.
They'll go out of business before they get to be able to understand the importance of that.
Yeah, literally. Or it's either they get stagnant and they never reach that point, you know? Which you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
you don't have to go up here. Your business can be more profitable down here, actually.
Exactly. You can make more profit down there.
You could.
Yeah, I've seen numbers. It's like from 0 to 350K profit, dude. From 350 to $1 million, you're not making but $1 million plus. That's when it's like a wave, you know. And then when you go from 5 to 10, your profit tanks, you know. If you were to start Thompson Family Plumbing from scratch today, what would be the first thing you do, system-wise? Would you at least start with some documents? Would you try to onboard better?
Well, first off, I would never try to recreate this type of business again by myself. I would join a franchise model.
That's a great idea.
You know, I believe if you want to prove that you can be a business owner, save the money for a franchise fee, at least. And then if you save that money, you've proved that you probably can do your own business. If you can't even save that much money, don't even try to go in business because you're not fiscally responsible. But if you save that money for a franchise, shop some franchises, see what it's like, and join that. But if you were going to recreate everything all on your own,
a franchise would kind of speed up things for you.
It totally would. It was going to streamline your success big time. Not to mention that you're going to have the support that you need that you will never get being on your own. You never will. You never will.
Very true.
Because you are always going to chase what is the best way to do it. What is the best way to do it? But it's nice when somebody's there to help direct you and figure out the quick results. Just like, I mean, honestly, sometimes you hit us with something like, hey, let's do this, let's get this done. And we're like, yeah, hell yeah. I even have other business partners or associates that actually gives me ideas to streamline my success too. But if I was going to start over from scratch, number one, I would definitely make sure that my process is documented.
From day one.
From day one, it's got to be documented. And then once that's documented, I want to be able to showcase it and translate it to any level of employee as easily as possible. And so, so I know it can be onboarding videos. I can do onboarding videos. That might be one of the most impactful things.
It would help a lot.
It
Well,
would.
since we're thinking day one, you have no money, you know, so like.
That's the only problem is that I know that the documentation's number one anyways. And we have to have the documentations for the workflow of the videos anyways.
Yeah,
so
because what do we base this off? We can't go into a business and create your systems for you, unfortunately. Although that's the plan for VisualCorp. I'll see you, brother. I have my good friend of mine. He creates systems for businesses, but for the biotech industry. And dude, we think we know what systems are. That's a system, dude. He has plans, classifications for the type of quality. Is it a D quality thing? Is it B, C, A? Okay, if it's an A, does it come down to man? Like, it's beautiful. I want to bring him into businesses and help me create systems for clienteles, you know? That'd be great.
And I didn't know how important that was really, honestly, until like,
Two, 3
probably
years.
until like 7 years in, 5 years in, I'm like, hey,
There you go.
I really got to get this stuff documented for my employees so that they have a manual to go back to. And now they have videos that they can go back to, which is cool. But if you're first starting out, you got to document that process and nail it down. And then be able to showcase that with your current staff as fast as possible. But realistically, in a perfect world, if you had money for the franchise, and let's say you didn't, you proved to yourself that you can be a business owner by saving the money for a franchise, but you elect to do it on your own. Well, guess what? You got a money bank, you got a piggy bank that you can actually do it the right way.
From the jump.
From the jump, and you have to think.
Nice.
You have to think about this. If you're going to bring in an employee, you're taking on their household. You're taking on their child. What kind of business owner are you going to be to bring this person in here? Are you teaching him to be successful in your organization? Do you even know what your organization needs yet? Have you strategized what it's going to be like being an employee for you? Have you put yourselves in your employee's shoes that your first hiree coming in? Put yourself in that person's shoes. How are they going to feel 3 months down the road? How are they going to feel a year from now from the get? Like when I started, it was a fucking shit show, right? And is that the legacy that you want? Is that what you have to give to what I call build the gap? Give yourself time to be able to do all these things? Ideally, probably yes, that's going to happen. But if you could prove yourself that you can save the money to join a franchise, then you have some money to create some great content for your first employee and set the tone correctly as a professional company.
That'd be nice.
And you're setting the tone and say, hey, this is the future of our company. This is where we're going.
It's motivating.
Yes. Yeah.
That's if you came in to a company that's starting fresh, you know they're fresh, you know they're brand new, they only have 2-3 employees, you're the first laborer, and they have all these training videos, you're going to be impressed.
You're going to be impressed. And here's the real deal. If you're not going to have any staff, you're going to be by yourself. If you just have the videos alone, that's your staff. These videos are your staff.
Yeah, honestly, I even consider that. It's very true. That replaces a lot of work. Wow.
It doesn't do all the work, but
it doesn't,
but it definitely helps.
For the trade owners listening to this, who knows they need systems but doesn't know where to start, what would be your advice?
There's a lot of useful tools out there, but for years I've documented what I do and videoed myself.
It's a good start. Documentation's a great start.
But so you have to really document your direct process, because if you're a business owner, you are the success. And so you want to duplicate that success, but you have to write down your steps that makes you a success. Your process makes you successful. So what is your process? What is your SOP? What is your literally everything going down the road, and why did you come up with that to begin with? And that's the story you lead with to show them why this is important. And so I would say you just got to dive in deep and literally, what is the step-by-step process that I actually do? I'm going to go back to the details of what I do that separates me from the competition and from the other guy. What am I doing that's very different? What is that detail? Because it is a detail that you're doing different. It's not anything else.
It could be looking good. It could be actually showing up. Like how when we go to shoots, we always come clean with polos. That's the standard that I set. It's very important to look good. And I want to implement haircuts. Like you have to have a haircut for this specific type of clientele that spend more than $5,000.
Yeah, you're spending money on
or new clients. Like it makes sense. Even for our shoots, I still show up looking good and haircut because you guys respect that, and that's how I started our relationship. I'm gonna keep it going. For myself first. That's what keeps me in line with my company,
Yeah, and I honestly feel like when I dress like this, I just put on my superhero suit.
Exactly. It changes your mindset. Like you get up, you put your uniform on, you're like, damn, I'm ready to go, you know?
Yep.
I'm ready to keep the business going, be better that 1% every day, you know? I guess just to end it, is there anything you'd like to share about, anything else you'd like to share, any advice you have to business owners that maybe not necessarily are as big as you, but want to be at that $10 million stage? What kind of advice would you give them? And what are some closing thoughts you'd give them? Besides, you know, hiring us to help you.
I would say this, not to disrespect anything, but an app, a video, a CRM or a software, all of these things are not going to be the magic. You have to have other things that encompass and support the app, the videos, the CRM, or whatever you're doing. You have to have other support features to really make it a reality and make it stick, and a continued culture of that training. And so if we're not, so whatever kind of vocabulary is in your videos, you have to continue that vocabulary in other categories.
Day-to-day too,
yeah.
as well.
And I would recommend, if you're trying to create a culture, to make sure that you're using your core values all of the time, all week long. Say your core values to your team very consistently. And realistically, like I've worked with a lot of tech companies. I've worked with a lot of tool manufacturers, tool companies, coming up with new ideas for them, new software with them. And none of it is a one thing fix all. And so you really have to be well-rounded. You have to be well-rounded in the information you're indulging and putting into your brain. I'm a firm believer is that you are programmed to be a slave through school, and you were educated by people that didn't have the education that you actually want to be successful. And so there's a book called Unfuck Yourself. You have to unfuck your mentality and untrain what had been taught and programmed incorrectly in your mind, and you need to start feeding a library of information that you are actually seeking into your own brain. And that is the biggest disconnect that I see in a lot of people. You go to school and you're like, I'm done. I go to trade school and I'm done. I have arrived. And the moment that you have arrived is your demise.
It's the beginning.
It's the beginning of your end if you've arrived.
And I'm actually going to school for electrical, and like I feel like I'm gonna have such an advantage over everybody.
Totally.
Like the ultimate advantage. But the thing is, I don't plan on really, like I'd like to start a company for it, but you know, my heart's for media and video, you know. But like you said, you need all those tools to make some happen of it. The fact that he's repeating his culture, his mission statements every day to his team, although it, you know, the negative side of that, it might come off as cheesy, right? It might come off as like, oh, here we go again, John with his fucking. You would much rather have the employee complain about John or whoever being cheesy or annoying, repetitive, than them not really knowing what a mission statement actually is. Like that is the most important thing. Like, what is your mission statement? Like, and the fact that you don't talk about that is insane. That is insane.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying John's cheesy. He's not. But I'm just thinking like what a hater, what like an hating ass employee would say, you know? Like, oh, here he goes again. Like, you know, there's no hating employees.
They talk all high level, but they ain't high level. Yeah,
like,
well.
bro, these guys made so many mistakes and they've learned so much. Like, they have years of experience over you guys. Like, trust me, it's like having a parent, you know? Like, when you're young and they're telling you shit, you're like, shut up. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I am living this. I'm living it. You're not. What are you talking about?
And as a parent, you're like, when is this kid ever going to acknowledge that I'm awesome and that he's grateful for me? Right?
Yeah, exactly. When is he gonna acknowledge my expertise and my wisdom? Like, maybe when he's 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe when he's 40.
Later on, they're gonna be like, oh man, they were right.
Yeah.
When they had their kids, that's when they're right. So when these people start their own company, they're like, damn, dude, John was right, or you know, whoever it is.
That's true, because Andrew, the guy who used to work with me, he tells me the same thing. Like, damn, I have my team now. I see what you were going through, Roman, and
when I left your company.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And he understands what I was going through, and now he's getting a piece of it. Let's see how he does. It's easy to tell people how to run their business. It's actually really easy to actually
say it.
Yeah, but actually doing it is a whole different thing. But thank you, John, for honestly. I think we've been trying to do this for about 6 months now. I'm so glad I finally caught you. We finally talked. If you guys need any plumbing, obviously, even some help, some mentoring, John is actually starting consulting for plumbers and home services in general. Reach out to him. If I was thinking about starting anything home service related, even if it's not plumbing, I would reach out to John, because although he's probably not in your industry, he knows about leadership, employees, training, onboard. He's the real deal. No bullshit.
And in service, here's the deal. Service is service. And no matter what that trade is, that message is the same that you're trying to give to your customer. And a lot of times those SOPs and the strategic plan for the actual service itself does echo into other lanes very strategically.
It
and
does.
Actually,
huge overlap.
I would say that I run actually an HVAC model in my plumbing business.
See what I mean? HVAC, plumbing, anything, please hit up John. His DMs are open, so please talk to him. I don't know. Hopefully someone talks to him and actually asks for some advice, because he will literally tell you everything, and he'll
Probably
make
too much.
A little too much. And he will beat it into you, and he will hold you accountable once you hire him. He's the real deal. But thank you, John. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, brother.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.